Okay, now I do have a couple of polls on here, and now I'm not sure which one is you.
Um,
Do you have a picture or just the letter P for your name? Do you know?
no, I have a picture.
Okay, all right. Okay, I believe I have turned it over to you,
Yeah,
Paul.
yeah, it came up and said you are the host now.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, thank you, everyone. Have a good meeting.
Hey, thank you very much for
Take
getting us
care.
going. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
5:02.
Yeah. Well, welcome everyone. There's Jessica. Welcome everyone to the January 23rd, 2025 Revitalization Trust Fund meeting. Just as a reminder that this call is being recorded and that if there is anything that you would like to be able to be sure that you do not have in the background, that's something you just want to be aware of in terms of the overall call. This is basically the kickoff of the new year for 2025, and we've got a lot of exciting things that are coming up. And why don't we just get started? Number one is we just want to approve the December minutes. They were distributed in the email that you should have gotten probably yesterday to be able to, if you had a chance to be able to look at them. It just had the updates from that meeting. So our first order of business is basically to approve the minutes. Do I have a call for being able to approve the minutes from December 2024?
I propose we approve the minutes.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Carol, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, right.
Great. All right. Then we are approved. And on to the first agenda item, second agenda item. We have two bench submissions that basically started off being submitted in December, but the select board had not have time to be able to actually put them on the agenda. And so they are technically on for basically this coming Tuesday's agenda. The two benches are one for Soderheim bench. That bench was, let me see if I can call up the information by sharing the screen. So you'll be able to see it. And see if I grab the first one here. This is the Ellen Soderholm bench, and it's dedicated to her mom. The two of them lived in Needham Heights, and her mom loved the train. It was one of the things, they lived pretty close to where the train station is. So every time the train would come in, her mom would turn around and goes, "Train's coming." And since that was something, it was just a fun thing that they had together, that she wanted to be able to have a bench dedicated to her that would be in the Heights Common. And this basically gave her the opportunity, and so that's the phrase that will be on the plaque. And the bench basically on the Heights Common is going to replace one that is already there, but has no celebration bench inscription plaque on it. So there was all the other ones in the Avery Common already have our celebration benches. This one was just a blank one that the town had from another location, which they used to fill out all the spaces. But there was a request to be able to do this, and so I spoke to Ed Olson and asked him if we were to do another celebration bench there, would we be able to reallocate the blank bench to another place? And he said that would be fine. And so that's basically what's happening. And so she's really excited about this. real, just a big thank you to her mom who for so many years just had a real affinity for being in the Heights and also for the train. So this is going, as I said, before the select board meeting, who have the oversight of the Avery Common on Tuesday, and I'll present it to them, and then from there, basically, we'll order the bench, and that bench they take about 9 to 10 weeks to come in because each one is custom made. And then, of course, when they show up, the marvelous team of Eric and I will assemble the bench. And this one's going to be different because we haven't assembled an actual Ipe bench. This bench is made out of Ipe, which is the same wood that all the other benches on the Avery Common. Yeah, IPE.
IPE.
Yeah. So it'll match the same style as all the other benches on the common. And just for information's sake, when we're talking about wood benches, that all the Revitalization Trust Fund benches that we've ever done are made out of Ipe, which is a super dense wood from Brazil, and very rot resistant. And we had benches in the past that were not done by the Revitalization Trust Fund that were made out of redwood and some other materials, and unfortunately, they fell apart. In about 10 or 12 years, those benches start to just loosen up and degrade. But we now have benches that are out there for 24 years that are still as solid as the day that we put them in. So that was, just the test of time that, with the right materials, you can really have a wood bench last a long time, which is great. So I've got another one here. Let's see if I can get this up so you can see it. So this bench is sponsored by Tom Leary, who was the previous police chief of Needham, and for a number of years. And he and a few of his friends had a friend that they basically had way back from, I believe, high school. And he went off to Vietnam. He was in the Marine Corps and came back and unfortunately passed away very young. And they've always felt like, they wanted to do something to sort of have him remembered. And his friends, Tom and his friends, wanted to be able to do this bench. And the placement of this was actually at the Amity Path, which is at 500 Dedham Ave, which is the Needham Reservoir. And this particular placement, if I can get it large enough here for you to be able to see it and still keep it on the screen, there's a rampway that goes from the parking lot up to the actual level of where the Amity Path, where it connects to the Amity Path, so you can walk around the reservoir. And there's a spot just right at the end of that ramp that faces towards the parking lot. And that's, having talked to Ed Olson about it and talked to Tom Leary about it, we found this particular place would actually be a great place for a bench for a couple of reasons. One is because everybody who walks the ramp will then, obviously see the bench and the dedication, because none of the other benches that were installed, all the other benches that were installed there, with the exception of the one that we just did, which I'll tell you about in a second, because it was finally installed, was were all done as part of the project. So none of them are celebration benches. So this one will actually have the inlaid plaque, but it'll match the style of the existing benches. The only difference being is that the other benches are made out of wood, and this particular bench is no longer available in wood, but it's available in a composite, which is a composite, which is one of the colors is very close to the gray of the existing benches. So most people probably won't even notice that there's much difference between the two, which is great. So that'll be there. And the style will match the other benches that are along the path. So that's basically, this one requires a little more extra work, thanks to Eric and his connections, that we have a contractor who is going to do the installation for us. And because the footings for these and all the other ones that are done there are all done set into concrete. So there'll be a little bit of landscaping that will go on right at the end of that path. This will be set into the concrete footings, and there'll be a bench that actually faces towards the parking lot. And what I was going with that is all the other benches along the Amity path all face towards the water. But we thought, gee, if somebody's waiting for someone to pick them up, that this bench is perfect because it not only allows you to be able to turn to the right to see the water, but it also allows you to look straight out into the parking lot and see, if someone's coming to pick you up, that they've arrived. So that is the second bench that will go before the select board tomorrow. Any questions on either one of these? Oh, and by the way, Eric, you and I will also have a project to put this one together too. So.
Nice.
Any other questions on that one? All righty. So, where did my... Go back to the agenda. The update, this is the other bench I was talking about at Amity Path, Amity Path, that back about 4 or 5 months ago, that the bench, the granite bench, the beautifully carved granite bench for Catherine Booney, sponsored for her mother, who loves to walk that path, was completed and came in. But because they were doing the dredging of the Needham Reservoir, that it couldn't be installed. But fortunately, because we had, as you will probably remember, several days of very warm weather,
Right.
which occurred right after the bench, I should say the dredging had been completed, that Shane from the DPW was able to get it installed, and just he called me up and said, "Hey, your bench is installed," which was just awesome. He really, at the soonest possible time he could do it, he got it in. So when you go to the Amity Path now, if you go up onto the path and then go left, that you'll see that there's a spot that's actually roped off on the 3 sides, because it's right where the actual stream flows from one side to the other of that path. And one of the things that's also occurred is that when they were doing that dredging, they also took the opportunity to be able to create a connecting path, which goes from DeFazio Field over to the Amity Path. Prior to this, the only way you could get from DeFazio to the Amity Path was to walk through the DPW storage area, which is kind of muddy, and it's just big trucks and storage containers and all that kind of stuff. So they took this opportunity to be able to get that included in the project. And so now there's a path that actually goes behind all that and connects from DeFazio straight over. And then there is actually a 90-degree left-hand turn that you take when you're coming on that path, comes straight down, and it actually terminates just to the left of where this bench is. So virtually anyone who walks from DeFazio Field is going to see this beautiful bench. And when you go there, one of the things that's especially cool about it is that it has carved into the front, "You are the gift." And it's also flanked by pieces of granite, which the gentleman who carved this believes that actually, because their granite company is one of the oldest, certainly in the Northeast, that the granite that's actually on either side, which flanked either side of the path there, probably came from their quarries also. So it's just a very neat combination of things that's really come together to make it even more special. So next time you're out, want to take a walk, stop down there, take a walk around the path, and check it out, and have a little rest on the bench. As far as any of these benches go, we've also, of course, always offer the opportunity to be able to help them be able to do any kind of dedication they want, any kind of ceremony and so on. And so that's something that they are aware that we will help them do. And they just have to tell us what the timing would be in terms of, the people that they'd like to get together to be able to do the dedication for. So as those come along, they'll notify me, and then I'll let you guys all know, and we will set up a time to be able to do that. The town common box wrap update. Basically, the select board want to be able to sort of convene a meeting for them to be able to look at the design, and along with Ed Olson and myself. This is the project that we talked about, that we basically had us we were asked if we could help in terms of creating a design that would work for the town common, and that would work with the complexity of the boxes, since there are clusters of basically 3 boxes that are all at either end of the or either side of the town common there, closest to Great Plain Avenue. So over the course of about 6 or 7 months, that there was a design developed, and now basically the design is now going to the select board, and they are going to put together I guess a group of people to be able to have us come in and talk about what the design was, what the design is, and what its intentions, and exactly how it would work in terms of the boxes. And the historic commission has already approved the design, and they're one of the key. They have a key amount of oversight as to what happens on the town common. Ed Olson has approved the design, and he, basically was involved in the development of this. And this is basically the last piece of the town common renovation, because this was included actually in the design concept that they originally did. They just didn't have an actual design for what would go on the boxes. So we're hoping that the select board will like the design and the concept for it. And we're basically just waiting for them to be able to get together to be able to set a time for the meeting, so we can go and explain it to them, and then talk about what the next steps might be. So that's it with that. Any questions about that at all? All right. Let's see. The on the back, this is the train mural. This train mural was actually put together and conceived and designed about 4 or 5 years ago. And then, due to circumstances, basically just with the landlord, the owner of the building, that they wanted to hold off on it because they had some personal things that were going on that were just things that they wanted to be able to focus on. And so at the time, they were just feeling like, we'll hold off in terms of being able to actually institute the design. But they loved the design. So about 2 or 3 months ago, I talked to the owners of the building and said, so we have this really cool design for the back of the building, and you've already done all the repair work that needed to be done to the back of the building to be able to to have it all prepped to be able to install the design. Would you be interested, since you put the money into the back of into the building itself to get it prepped up? So if we raise money just to be able to do the the printing and installation for the mural, would that be fine? And they said, yeah, actually, we'd be very excited about being able to do that. So it's back on the agenda to be able to do it. This is a design. I don't have it queued up to be able to show it to you at the moment again. And since a number of you weren't on the committee when we first designed this, that what I can do is I'll just make a note to be able to send you out what it looks like. But essentially, that it's a merger of what the train station looked like in its glory before it burned. The remainder of which is just the curved granite walls that you see that's part of the James. But that whole building was basically granite, and it had beautiful integrated roof lines, a conical roof on that curved section, a large overhang so people could stay out of the weather while they were waiting for the train. And it was a beautiful design. And the other thing we thought would be really cool is we found a picture of one of the more beautiful trains that have run on the Needham tracks, and with that has a lot of ornate elements to it and so on. And apparently, at one point, they took a photograph. Literally, they parked the train right across Great Plain Avenue and had all the personnel from the train, including the conductor and so on, all standing out in front of the train, and they took a picture of it, right there. And so we took that image as well as the train station image and basically sewed them together so that you got this very cool looking combination image. And one of the things that was really neat about it was the fact that to the left-hand side of the train picture, there's a gap of, visually of about, I don't know, 5 or 6 feet from the front of the train to where the picture ends. And in that picture, you actually see a horse and buggy coming up and to try to in the gap of where the train is. So it's really got a very cool historic feel to it, and that being on the back wall of what is Kumon, and it's a I don't know if they're an esthetician, but the other service that's in there, that it will be on the backside Chapel Street parking lot side. And design review, it had already approved the design back then. But it's directly across from where the James is. So people will be able to come out of the James and then see what the train station that the James is basically part of looked like back when it was just a beautiful building. So it's not a bad building now, but they used brick to be able to just fill in the gaps when the fire had occurred. And it really gives sort of a historic connection to what's left of it and what it really looked like back then. So that's the scoop with that one.
Paul,
Yeah.
what's the time frame on that?
Well, it's just a matter of the project We're waiting actually just for Speed Pro to update the cost to print and install. And as soon as they get back to me, then we'll know because they actually met me out at the building a couple of weeks ago to be able to reassess the cost of it. And as soon as we have the number, then it's basically it's probably going to be, I would say, about an $8,500 project, somewhere in that range. But as soon as we get the number, then it's basically just a matter of being able to fund it, and and it'll be installed, and it would be.
Okay. So we need a sponsor for that.
So we need a sponsor, yes.
Okay.
So if you know any train aficionados in town,
There must be some.
yes, that they could rally together and be able to sponsor it. But that's basically where we're at. But it's done in a sort of a brown grayscale kind of historic image
Mhm.
experience. But it's just a really cool thing. As I said, I will send you out a picture of what it looks like so that you can see it. And
That would be good.
yeah, definitely talk it up with everyone and see if we can get that rallied, because this is one of the projects that we could definitely do in the spring or summer. And it would just one of the things that's neat about it is the fact that if you're on Chapel Street, you don't even know exists. And then when you come in to go to the James, or you walk to the Citizens Bank, or you go through the alleyway and so on, you'll just discover this.
Mhm.
And I just think it's going to be, it would be a lot of fun, and it's certainly a piece of history of Needham's.
Yeah, well, it sounds great.
Yeah. All righty, and let's see. Update on the Ridge Hill. Actually, we're waiting for an update on the Ridge Hill wall mural. That's the one that will be on the wall of the building that has what is it called? I think it's the hospital clinic building, but it's also where the same building that contains treats, cupcakes, formerly had Pancho's Taqueria, and is now going to have, I guess, some kind of accessory gym or boxing in that spot, as a I guess an additional counterpart to Peck's, which is across the street. I think it's the same operator that's expanding. But it basically creates a beautiful green space visually in a parking lot that has no other greenery at all. It's just a big, asphalt parking lot. But it also has the ability, which is, I think, really a terrific thing, to be able to remind people that Ridge Hill is there. Ridge Hill is such um, a beautiful space, and not enough people in town remember that it's even there, and or go out there and be able to walk the trails and and be able just to enjoy the solitude of what is over 300 acres of conservation land. And so we got a little of experience, a little additional experience when Jessica and Eric and I and a few other people all went out and did the Charles River Street cleanup, because we got to park in there and eat sandwiches out of the back of, of Eric's SUV. But it really is. It's a beautiful place, and it's an opportunity. My hope is that through the mural's exposure, that that it will cause people to be able to, many more people to go out there and actually enjoy it, but also create more conversations about how we could even better utilize it. One of the things that we've bantered around either in our own meeting or with other people has been the idea of potentially putting like an amphitheater outdoor amphitheater platform out there,
That's good.
which would require, because there's a big open space where the where the house used to be. But you could site it in a way where it could really work. And the design studies they did for the initially when they were talking about trying to be able to build the senior center out there, um, that they had a design that would hold up to 300 cars for a parking lot. So there's definitely ways of being able to create the infrastructure to be able to do that. The building that is still standing out there can be still has water and electricity, as I understand it, and there are, I guess, considered plans to be able to renovate that building so it would create basically an activity center and a central place for anything else that would go on there, but it would have bathrooms and ways of people to be able to get inside. And if you were going to have some type of event out there, that you could potentially have food or those kinds of things set up or catered inside
Yeah.
the building.
And it's a beautiful property. Two of my daughters were married there.
Ah, that's great.
Yeah.
Probably in that house, right?
Right, in the building that's gone.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the Revitalization Trust Fund had one fundraiser there in that building, which was just amazing. It was such a beautiful space. A lot of beautiful hardwoods on the inside, wood
Yeah,
floors. They had diamond cut glass
yeah,
windows,
yeah.
and
That was lovely.
yeah. And we had just a little piece of nostalgia is that when we did that, we had a five-piece string quartet
Oh,
that played in the background. We got a beer and wine license for the day, and then invited people from all over town to come in, and we had these large panels that showed a variety of the different projects that we had already done, and then asked people to donate, and it was a very fun event, and really primarily sort of public exposure to allow a lot of people who didn't even know that the fund existed, um, that they could come out and see a lot of the projects and start to make the association. So it was a beautiful thing. I'm glad we got a chance to be able to participate in it at that time. And, now we'll look at, what the possibilities are in the future. But, one of the things that I saw when I was traveling in, was it North? Oh, no, in Maine, that I was in Maine for a wedding, and they did the whole thing outdoors. And one of the places that we had stopped on the way had this large platform that they used for setting up, outdoor bands, different types of events that they could use. And the maintenance side of it was incredibly small. It basically just needed electricity to be there, and you could use it for weekend, um, concerts, and a variety of different things. But it doesn't create a need for a lot of maintenance and a lot of infrastructure. So, but it could be a great way of being able to draw more people out to the area, and to be able to really experience it more and more and have fun, going to different concerts and things like that. So it's an idea that's in the wind,
okay.
but certainly a possibility. And that's one of the hope that we have is with the Ridge Hill mural at that Walgreens parking lot, that it'll spark more of those conversations and hopefully get people more excited and interested in being able to put something together for that.
Mhm.
And of course, bottom line is we're also looking for sponsors for that mural so we can get it up on the wall, since it's also completely approved. And all we need is the resources to be able to just fund having it installed. The next piece is about the Needham Center Envision group, the working group. This is the one that you asked me to represent you all on the committee. And it's a group of really talented people from a variety of different backgrounds that are all part of being able to come up with the next basic stage of the revitalization of the downtown Needham Center area. If you know that in the past, the most recent thing that happened, well, the two things that happened within the not too distant past was the renovation of Chapel Street, which widened the sidewalks and put in the new pedestrian lighting and crosswalks and that kind of thing. The next phase of that was the renovation of the entire intersections that are in the center of town. And one of the things about that was that they realized, because I was on that committee that helped work with that if they didn't the traffic control problem there was really bad. I mean, I think if I recall, it was rated like its best mark was like a D plus. It was it was pretty bad because every time the train would come through, every light in every direction would all go to red. And so the train, until it actually came, picked up the passengers and actually left, would basically stop every piece of traffic from every direction. And because they didn't have any intelligent light controls, that they were all basically just independent triggered lights, that that the only option they had was to shut it all down. So we ended up with getting the redesign. They had brought in two separate companies to be able to do complete traffic studies in the downtown because they wanted to make sure that two independent studies would really max out the best possibilities of being able to get traffic control in there. And so the design that that we all now have in the downtown has created, if anybody remembered what it was like, it is significantly better. Now, they're not A+ intersections. The whole idea was to get it up into the C range, maybe a B-, in terms of one of the directions. But the way it works now is that even if the train comes through, the only thing it does is stop people from being able to build up, trying to be able to turn towards where the train is. But the other intersections can still continue to function,
Right.
in different directions. Of course, the wild card and all that is if people push the button to be able to do the crosswalk, that you can get a combination thing of where the train is there, but the crosswalks will stop that particular intersection in all directions because people cross diagonally through that intersection. But for the most part, it's become very livable. The only wild card in it which was not part of the traffic study, but happened after the fact, was that the MBTA, in compliance with what apparently is a new federal law, had to be able to put in the light that is coming from Wellesley towards the tracks to be able to stop cars from being able to park across the track if they backed up from the intersection that's in the center of town. But for the most part, even though that's, it's kind of an unusual situation, that it's been quite livable, and, it definitely flows the traffic through better, and pedestrians have a much higher level of safety than they had in the past. This new study is actually going to, look at that again and say, all right, are there any ways we can tweak this to make it even more pedestrian friendly, and still be able to create good traffic flow, and adapt to the unique conditions of having so many intersections all coming together in the center of town. So that's one part of it, but they're also looking at the expansion of the sidewalks in both directions down Great Plain Avenue and then down Highland Avenue, and how they can get more built-in outdoor seating, and with or without having to do necessarily parklets. So if they can incorporate it more into if they widen the sidewalk and they can incorporate that type of seating into the sidewalk area, then they don't have to do the parklet and block parking places. So there's a whole variety of things that they're all looking at in terms of bike safety and that, which will be part of this comprehensive thing. So I will keep you updated as we keep moving through, but that's, it's a it's a big task that they're trying to be able to have an actual working model. In other words, they're going to set up prototype sections to mock what's being designed throughout the downtown, so that everyone can walk through. And one of the ideas that we've talked about is being able to have QR codes attached to some of the poles in those areas where those changes are, so that people, all of us, can just go up and scan the code, go right to a form, and then give our feedback as to what we think the concerns are, what do we like about it, how they feel it integrates, basically any of the feedback that they can possibly get. So it'll be interesting to see if people will, voluntarily do that. But they're looking for as much, population feedback in terms of the people who are actually, in the intersections, walking through. How do they move through, and what do they, see as ways of being able to make it better? So that's where that's at. Any questions on the study or any other information about it? Fundraising update. Well, as you're aware that and I take this on myself, that I was not able to get a fundraiser to be able to happen during December. There were just too many conflicting things that just made it difficult to be able to do. So I apologize for that. But it doesn't mean I've stopped working on it, because actually I put together a script for a voiceover promotion that is actually in the works literally as we speak, that hopefully in the next few days will be completed. And as soon as it is, then I will send it out to you all, just so you can see the promotion. But it's it's a way of being able to, my hope is anyway, it'll be a way to get people, number one, to be able to have an awareness of the variety of different things we've done. And it basically, what it does is it has me telling a story about the Revitalization Trust Fund and people participating. And at the same time, it's also showing a whole variety of different projects that we've done in the background, which are, basically being cued as the story goes on.
Paul, how will this be distributed?
So we would distribute it in several ways. Number one is you guys would all get the link to be able to do it. It'll be a YouTube video. Then it'll be basically through social media that Eric has done a number of postings that for the Facebook page. We can also put it up on send it off to Amy for all the news you need them, and also send it off to the Needham Observer to see if that's something that they feel would work with them.
That's good.
And we want to be able to connect as many people as possible to being able to just see it. And we'll try to run it. Basically, you can't just run it once. You've got to run it, 15, 20 times so that it's out there and catches enough people so that you can actually get some, get response from it.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So, and it's a piece that is also not, not visually timed, meaning it could be used multiple times. We could, use it now, and then, during the summer we could run it again, and then, during the fall we could run it again. So we have an opportunity to be able to use this, continuously.
That sounds good.
Yeah, so that should hopefully be finished up by in the next few days. Certainly by, I would think, early next week. And then I'll send it out to you and you can see it, and then we'll talk about the ways that we can actually get it out to as many people as humanly possible. And let's see.
For fundraising, Paul,
Yep.
is there a way, several of the topics discussed today are looking for a sponsor. Is there a place that, we could post what wonderful projects are available for sponsorship? Or do we have a webpage? What do we have?
Well, yes, we have our own webpage. One of the things we haven't set up, which we certainly should do, is on the town. One of the things is we can't go in and just make modifications to our town webpage. It all has to be done
Right.
through
Right.
another person in the town. JP has taken over being able to actually get all of our From Needham to the World postings set up there, and did a very nice job getting that all done. So we could ask him to set up a page for projects waiting for funding, and get that up there so we can have a link to it.
Mhm.
And that'll give people opportunity to be able to read, the write up about the project, and then see the sponsorship opportunity for it, and so on. So I'll actually, he's away for a couple of weeks, but I will ask JP if he's able to do that, and then let's put it up. I mean, we've got nothing to lose to do that.
Yeah, give it a try. Right, because of that train mural, I'm sure there's more than one person who'd be interested in that. I just don't know who they are. If we could just, somehow make that information available, see if we can catch them,
Yeah. So we'll do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I'll email him as soon as he gets back, and we can, because I can certainly give him the write-ups for each one of these things. And then he just has to basically create the page, and we'll, tweak it to make it, present the way that we're looking for. So and let's see. So now we're on to Jessica to tell us about the new From Needham to the World profile. You're on.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes.
Good. So I'm happy to report that as of about 3 hours ago, I heard back from Ben Carlin. I was starting to despair that I wouldn't hear from him and I was going to have to start all over with somebody new, which is never fun. It took a while to track him down. I found someone who had his assistant's email address. So I tried that, but then she wasn't working for him anymore. Anyway, it took a while to get through to him, but he did write me back today and said, thank you for thinking of him, and he's really honored, and he's in London. I have no idea whether he'd be able to come here or not in March, but he was very he felt honored that we were asking, and he said thank you. He is reviewing the draft of the bio that I wrote, and he's going to look for pictures of himself in Needham, growing up in Needham. And
Awesome.
also I said if he had any pictures like from his work, like on the set or at the Emmys or whatever, that would be great too. So just to refresh people's memories, so Ben Carlin was born and raised in Needham. He graduated from Needham High School in 1989. After college, he went to write for The Onion, which people may know is like a satirical newspaper, where he caught the attention of Jon Stewart, who was just starting The Tonight Show with Jon Stewart on Comedy Central. So he was brought on board there to be a writer. After a few years, became a co-producer and then the executive producer of that show. And then he and Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert started the Colbert Report, which people might also know was another show on Comedy Central. So he was heavily involved in that. He was also a writer for the show Modern Family. People might know the sitcom Modern Family. He was one of the writers on that show. And he also put together a collection of essays from different celebrities. that I haven't read yet, but I will. So he's done some really interesting things. He seems like a very nice guy. He actually was here. Needham High School does a presentation every year of, graduates from the high school that have, gone on to achieve things, and they talk to the students, and he did that last year or maybe 2 years ago. So that's that. So he did, he said that sounded great. He's going to look for photos. He's going to edit the bio if needed. So I think fingers crossed, we're in pretty good shape with that. Paul, you can just let Seymour know all of that.
Yes.
I had emailed you the bio and some of the images last week. Those may change. If I don't hear back from Ben again in like a week or so, I'll follow up with him and see, if he wants to send me any edits or any photos. He seemed a little pessimistic about what he could find in Needham, but he said he would look. Um, so yeah, I guess that's about it. The only images I came up with were like a headshot of him, and then some images of, the shows that he worked on, either the logos or something like that. So the logo from Modern Family, the logo from uh,
The Bear
the
Report.
Colbert Report,
Yeah.
from the Jon Stewart Show, and also a picture of an Emmy statue. But he said he would look around and see if he could find anything else that he could send me. And that's about it for now. So I'm very glad I heard from him. I was really starting to worry. But hopefully this will work out.
It's very exciting. And I was going to say,
Yeah.
what about the Needham High um, you know,
Yearbook.
yearbook?
No, I was just
I
gonna
asked,
say,
I
yeah.
asked him that. I said I could go find it because at the library they have them going back many years, and I said I could find it and use it if he didn't mind. But then I said, some people hate their yearbook photos, so I'm not going to force it. So he didn't say anything more about that. I don't know how he would feel about that, but he didn't object to it. So yeah, that's another idea, I guess.
Well, and maybe he did something else in high school that the pictures
Yeah.
would be in the yearbook, some
Yeah,
club.
like a club or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good idea. So,
I'll
so that's
actually,
where we are.
what I can do is, you said he graduated in '89,
Yes.
because maybe we can see if Seymour can go to the library and see if he can literally shoot pictures right out of the book
Mm-hmm.
so that we can get high resolution images of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
he's done things like that in terms of, getting that kind of image in
Yeah.
the past.
Yeah, they're in that locked room where they keep older books and stuff, and it goes back quite a ways actually. The yearbooks go back quite a ways, so yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I'll ask Seymour about doing that.
What's his full name?
Um, you're ta- you're
Yeah.
talking about Ben
Yeah.
Ben
I think-
Carlin with a K.
Harlan.
Ben
Okay.
Carlin with a K. Yep.
Kyle?
Harlan, Karlin.
Okay.
I think aren't all the yearbooks online now? So you could start there for, researching and then, zero in and take photos of the actual book. But I think they're all online.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, maybe.
All righty. Any other questions about but that one? But I think this is great. I just
It sounds terrific.
I just think that the this project has become, even more cool. That's
Unexpected.
yeah, than we expected to. I mean, it's because when you really started to look into a lot of and of course we never had the in-depth stuff. We just knew that there were a lot of people who'd done these different things, right? But the more, when Jessica goes out and delves into, their bios and it gets, this kind of information that, you learn all this fascinating stuff. And I just think it's an incredibly cool service that we bring to the community to be able to highlight these people who have, who grew up here and or lived here, right? And went off into the world and did all these amazing, cool things. I mean, the fact that he, worked on the Stephen Colbert
Right.
report, that, that Modern Family, which so many people have seen. It's just and a variety of other things that I'm sure that we don't even know about because, he's been doing this for quite a while, right? So they tend to write on a whole variety of different things.
Oh, I also should have mentioned he's won 11 Emmys too.
Oh, only 11.
Only 11 for on those, yeah, on those shows as a writer and a producer. So yeah, it's pretty impressive. And he was nominated for many more, but he won 11.
Yeah. Wow. Well, if you actually, I was going to say, if you have the numbers for the nominated too, we'd love to be able to get that included in it too. Because,
Yeah, yeah,
a lot of times they can be nominated for a whole variety of different things, and that's an honor in itself.
yeah,
So,
for sure.
but I think it's great. And Jessica, I can't thank you enough for, for the work that you do in this thing. And I'm glad that you've been excited about being able to do it because it just brings a lot of cool stuff really to life.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, it is. It's fun. The toughest part is tracking some of these people down. That's really the hardest part. But yeah, it's interesting. There's some very interesting people that have come out of Needham. That's for sure. More than I thought.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, and you're getting to talk to a lot of cool people.
Mhm.
The ones
Yeah,
that are alive,
yeah,
of course. So,
yeah. I know. Yeah, yeah.
so that's great. All righty. Well, let's see. Last on the agenda basically is because we're getting down to time here, is that Eric, I just wanted to put this agenda item just so that we get started again with the organization of the phase 2, I guess, Charles
Yep.
Road Street cleanup, which would go probably the other direction.
Okay.
Since we removed, as we found out, 200 pounds of debris from the side that we did. So, which was just,
Nice.
but yeah, and we'll see if we can hopefully connect up with that Dedham police officer that was really excited
Oh,
about it.
yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
and said, I want to come back and do this with you because we really had a great time and I want to bring my kids to help too.
Well, I think this will be a little bit more successful than last year. After we did it that day, I got an earful from my wife being like, "You should have told me about this sooner. I could have told all of my friends. They would have brought the kids. This could have been like I could have got so many people." So I think that now we have at least a framework for it and a head start on it. We should be able to fill the slots with no problem this season, and hopefully the weather cooperates.
Yeah, yeah. And obviously one of our strategy here is to be able to uh, time it so that when we get out there, it's before any of the plants come up,
Hmm.
Right.
which is also before the bugs come out. So, so it's early spring before spring springs.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
But
the
yeah, I'll jump back into my notes and I'll get the juices flowing and start pushing that ball forward. So no worries.
Yeah.
that's great.
And you can ask groups like, excuse me, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts if they want to participate, right?
Yeah, we actually had that
You
idea
do that?
last year, and I think
Okay.
that's a great idea. I think we were just a little bit late with
Okay.
trying to wrangle people, and then the kids were less than committing to that day. So, but yeah, I've got a list of people who I can contact, friends,
Okay.
family,
Good.
kids at school who need
Yeah.
community service hours, etc.
Right. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hmm.
Well, as far as any other discussion points and so on, so we can make sure that we've wrapped everything up before we close out. Well, that was a rousing collection of silence. So
You covered a lot.
we did. We covered a whole lot.
Right.
So as I said, I'll follow up by being able to send you out the link to the video for the promotion, so we can
Good.
start being able to use that.
Yep.
Um, And we'll follow up on the several other things that we said that that I do for making sure that we're keeping all the other stuff balls in the air, including sending you the thing for the train mural. And I'll send you the Ridge Hill mural also, just so you have them both, since you probably haven't seen it in a while, and
Right.
why not have both those things? So that's it. Any other things, Carol, other than the next meeting date?
Next meeting day.
Yeah, next meeting.
See what that looks like.
Let me get my calendar.
February. So it looks like February 27th. Does that work for people?
I could do 27.
Jessica?
That's okay for me. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Joan, what about the
What was
February
the date?
February 27th?
27?
Yeah.
That looks good.
And what about Corinna? You're in there someplace. Green?
Dropped off.
Oh, did she?
Mm.
Oh, okay. Oh, and the one item I realized that we didn't cover, which I have a visual for, is the Needham Heights banner
Ah,
that we had actually started this back about, I think, April or May of 2024. Then it went through a design review and they approved it. And then the town announced that they were actually doing a rebranding and we're going to have a new logo and a new font style. And since this was going to be something that would be, a prominent and would be a semi-permanent fixture in the Heights, that we want to make sure that everything, would, have the unified branding incorporated into it. So what basically happened is they went through the design process, they finalized on the logo. There were two different versions of it. And also colors. So blue and gold are the two colors. And basically what we did is took the existing design that we had. Seymour did modifications to it to be able to incorporate the new logo information. And if I can get this to come up on the screen.
Oh, cool.
very nice.
That's nice.
Very nice.
So, and it's got, Avery Square, and it's got a bench and a tree, symbolically, of course. Then looks like a very rapidly moving shopping cart. As you rush from store to store, including Trader Joe's, which I think is the little palm trees in the, in the background there. And then, of course, dining. And then Gorse Mill Art Gallery.
Cool.
So, and the fonts were all changed for it. This is one of the new logo designs that has this. They have another one that actually has like a gold, almost a sun behind it. But this is one of the two, and this one seemed to really integrate nicely into the banner. So we'll now send this to the select board to be able to, do a final approval, hopefully final approval on it. The other part of this project is just the standard parking banner, which is just the one, if you're on Chapel Street, it's just basically a blue banner that says public on the top, parking on the bottom, and a big P in the middle, which is, sort of the universal symbol for parking. And just to refresh your memory that there's a public parking lot that is directly behind where Blue on Highland is. And in there, they have a whole variety of the pedestrian style poles like there are on Chapel Street and so on. But none of them have any banners on them. And there's only one small sign that basically says it's public parking on one of the metal stanchions there. And so we thought, well, gee, we want to make sure that everybody knows that this is a public parking lot, because you could just drive by it and not even really know whether that's what it was or not. And you have opportunities where the poles are situated on either side of the entrances. There are 3 entrances to that lot. And to be able to have the P parking, but also in the center, there's an island, and then at the very back corner, there's another little sort of island that both can have places where this banner would actually be. So you'd have a combination of the public parking, and then you'd have these at those different points. Then when you come out onto Great Plain Avenue, onto Highland Avenue, excuse me, onto Highland Avenue, that there are 4 poles that run basically in front of from Starbucks down to Blue on Highland. And then there's a pole that is actually on the common. And those poles would all have this banner. So the idea is to be able to do several things. One was to be able to create a sense of place. So when people come into Needham, as soon as they drive into that area, there will be no doubt that they are in Needham Heights. Because a lot of people will drive through and they don't even realize where the height starts and what areas that they're actually in. So number one, it makes it easily identifiable as you've driven into Needham Heights, which has its own character and own personality and so on. Second, of course, it highlights several of the things that are, all key elements of the Heights at a glance. And one of the things we wanted to be able to really bring heightened awareness to, was the fact that Gorse Mill Art Gallery, which is just a couple of blocks up the street, first of all, is there, because a lot of people don't even know that Gorse Mill Art Studios are even there. So number one, we create more awareness of that. Number two is that they change the art show that's in there once a month, featuring another artist. And so there's this variety of art that's available for people to see, that very few people even realize that that's even available to them. So in the idea, the whole intent of being able to get more art into the public view, that this is one of the ways that we wanted to be able to help, really highlight the fact that we have an active art gallery in an artist condominium building, which is only a couple of blocks away from the Heights Common. So, and if you put in Gorse Mill Art Gallery into your phone, just as a Google search, it will come up with the thing. We tried it in a variety of different ways, and most ways it came up showing you their webpage. So it'll also create opportunities for them to be able to even feature things on their webpage if they know that more people will probably Google it because they've seen this when they were in the Heights. And that really includes being just, if they were just sitting in Starbucks, that they'd look out the window and the banners will be right there because the pole was right in the location for that. If they're on Blue on Highland, you look out the windows there, you'll be able to see it there. You'll also see it across the common, which is the one which is directly across the street from all this. And then the pizza place and so on. So
You're standing in line outside waiting for Cafe Bagel in that 100-person line one day.
Yeah. Yes. Lots of exposure. So so they can go, well, see, I could go off to the art gallery, see a show and come back and maybe my order be ready.
That's right.
So, but whatever the case is, that was the intention of the banner. And we hope that the select board likes it, and that the incorporation that we've done with the Needham logo, fits the the intentions of the town and the new logo and branding. So that's basically the scoop. And I'm glad that you guys like it. I mean, I think Seymour did a wonderful job being able to, put a nice amount of information without making it look busy. And I think it's just an attractive looking, integration of the design, which when you said, yeah, that looks nice, that was the validation that I'll tell Seymour that we showed it to the committee and they all said, hey, this is cool. So that's it. So anyway, not to take us over the time here because we're already about 11 minutes over. But we did cover a lot of ground today. Thank you tremendously for all your contributions to all this. And so do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? We confirmed the 27th, right? 27th is good for everyone? Yeah, so the 27th it is, and we'll have and it will send out a notice so that Corinne can make sure that she knows that the 27th will be the next meeting.
27th.
Yeah.
Of
Of February.
February,
Yeah.
right,
All righty.
got it.
So do I have a motion to adjourn?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Second. Well, thank you very much. We are officially adjourned. Thank you all for the great contributions, and we'll talk to you soon.
all.
Bye,
Hi,
everyone.
guys.
Jessica,
See-
thank you all.
Hey, Carol showed back up. See, there she is. All righty. Have a good night.
Better.
You too. How do we get out of here?